So now we're focusing on the role of research in powering what matters in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hi, Michaela.
Hi, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. By the way, it's Michaela.
Michaela. Oh, my apologies.
It's okay. There are many versions. Yeah.
Yes. All right. I was just looking at the the spelling. So tell us about yourself and about your research.
Well, I'm part of the Multicultural Insights Collective, which is a coalition of small agencies, diverse agencies with experience in market research and multicultural research, and has a lot of insights into the aspects of diversity. And so I am the founder of Relevant Insights, which is my own agency, but we have come together. Instead of competing, we decided to collaborate, trying to help brands communicate these concepts, because things that happened in 2020 really woke up many brands trying to figure out how do we talk about diversity. And the answer became very clear. It has to do with the actions you take before you start talking, right?
True.
Words matter in the context of the actions. Yeah. And so we have done an initial project that lasted for a year with 4 phases, trying to understand, doing foundational research. So our work is grounded in diversity of the team. It's a very diverse group, diversity of methodologies, and very strong emphasis in diversity of the sample, in the sample used in the research. So trying to make representation a central issue in everything we do. So that really permeates everything. We try to walk the talk, essentially.
So just going to kind of like, just trying to convince brands to do, why should they invest in diversity, equity, and inclusion?
The investment in this type of work is important because they could either mitigate, avoid backlash, mitigate risk, or simply do a frog leaping action into better product development, better talent, and talent acquisition and retention. And sometimes it's simply aligning with the mission of some brands are really concerned about in a more equitable world. And so it can meet many different goals.
Yes.
But we always recommend brands to think in terms of missing opportunities. If you don't communicate and reach out to diverse groups, you're going to be missing a lot. Missing a lot of talent, missing a lot of product development opportunities, right? And so innovation is faster because of this. It's good for your reputation too, because new generations are really, people are looking inside and out what companies are doing and saying. And when there is a disconnect, then they tend to avoid those brands. Particularly the younger generations, they're really diverse and they expect companies to have social missions, trying to be concerned with issues of other groups, particularly the minority groups, groups that have had fewer opportunities. Yeah.
So when you're talking about it's important to start from within, I'm guessing the team that you, and I believe that you also mentioned that the team that you worked with in this research is very diverse. How important is it to have a diverse research team?
Well, diversity in the research team is important because we all bring our own biases, our own perspectives. And so when you work with diverse people, first you are able to get your bias in check. You are hearing new ideas, things that you never think of. You are able to speak to and be able to be aware, sensitive to clues from other people that if you don't have the lived experience, you will never capture those. So when you have that diversity, like in nature, diversity really fosters better solutions many times. And so when you have in a research team the same homogenic group, you might do methodologically right, you can do things correctly, but usually you bring biases in the design or in the data interpretation. So it's important to have that, because we, in our group, when we talk about these issues, when we propose ideas, there's always someone say, but you're missing this point. You have this blind spot. And if you're open to that, you realize it's not a criticism of yourself. We all have biases. Our brain is built for biases, right? And that's part of our experience. Human beings are very good at predicting what is very close to them, but outside them is really hard. And so you need that collaboration to be able to really learn what's happening outside you, little world. And in research is very much important. We have seen a lot of examples in which the research might be done correctly, but then a lot of issues happening later on when you start interpreting and applying and making conclusions and extensions to other areas where really there is not a good match.
So, regarding biases, the world is a very big, diverse place. And how do you pair the methodologies with cultural differences?
Well, a quick example that probably many researchers relate to is, for example, when you moderate focus groups, when you moderate in-depth interviews. We saw that in our study. We were talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We were trying to understand how people perceive those. We realized the importance to have moderators that were a match with those groups. Because when you are with someone who you can relate to, for whatever external physical element you might have, the guards go down. There is ability to create more rapport with your audience, and also create psychological safety, because you feel you can, if you are a Black consumer, you have a Black moderator, we have a shared experience. I can talk about certain things that you know what I'm talking about. You feel freer to discuss these issues. The same happened with the different groups. So for example, in our group, in our study, one of the phases we did about 15 focus groups across age and race and ethnicity groups, and we decided to have moderators to mirror the group. And it was really, we assumed that was going to be important, but it really became clear when we start seeing the opinions, and we know that that person would have never said that if they had been a moderator with another makeup, right? And so that's important to have the context of who they are. It doesn't have to be race, it doesn't have to be age. It depends what is the group that you're talking to, but you have to be aware what are the cues, because it's not about what you say. There's a lot that goes unsaid in the way you talk, and the way you express your body movement, the way many sayings and phrases that are used, because each group has their own way of talking about things that needs to be understood. If you don't have a moderator with that experience, you're going to miss it, or you're going to misinterpret it. So that's a kind of a quick tip that you can see this in action very clearly.
Well, thank you very much for coming. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for.
Oh my God, went fast.
Honestly, it is. I have 30 minutes of this, and it's just flying by, and it's been incredibly fascinating. I'll probably catch you later on. Are you coming to the gala?
Yes.
Yes. So I've got loads of questions personally that I'm incredibly interested in asking.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's been a pleasure. Michaela?
Michaela, yes.
Right, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
Just hold it.